For Father's Day, here are some Toronto Raptors posing with their little ones. Only about a dozen countries mark Dad's Day today. One of them includes Pakistan. That is why the Malala Fund tweeted out a photo of the Nobel laureate with her dad. On Father's Day, it says we celebrate all of the wonderful fathers out there, especially this one. So you likely know Malala Yousafzai, the outspoken activist for girls' education. Now you're going to get to know her remarkable father and how he helped to raise a champion. Ziauddin Yousafzai understands he's not as well known as his daughter Malala, but that doesn't bother him at all. His pride in her only grows. It was already huge back in 2009 when the Taliban began implementing Sharia law in the Swat Valley of Pakistan, where the Yousafzais lived.
Swat Valley!
Girls' education was banned, schools were shut, some even bombed, but Yousafzai and his daughter fought back.
They cannot stop me. I will get my education if it is in home, school or any place.
Insisting girls have a right to an education. Her activism made her known around the globe, and it made her a target. In 2012, while on a bus from school, Malala and two other students were shot in an attempt to silence her. They could not. With her father by her side, Malala navigated the world's greatest stages. Her voice has only been getting louder, and so has his.
I'm not a lone voice. I am many.
He was in Canada recently speaking at the Women Deliver conference in Vancouver. I met up with Ziauddin Yousafzai in Toronto. So firstly, I want to welcome you and say Happy Father's Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And you are a father the world has come to know. And I wondered what it is like to be Malala's dad.
Thank you so much. Like in patriarchal societies, fathers are known by their sons. And I'm one of the few fathers might be in the world who is known by his daughter. And I'm so proud of it.
When you had your daughter and you were so thrilled,
yes,
that wasn't entirely how everybody else in the family was feeling. And how isolating is that?
Yeah, like now things have changed a lot. I will mention that first. But at that time, really, a daughter's birth was not celebrated. And I remember that my father and my brother, they were not like very happy. They were not sad, I should say, but they were not happy. Like there was no excitement for having this new baby in the family. And we have a tradition that after the 7th day of the child's birth, we just make a feast, like a party. And my father did not offer that. When he offered for my son, I refused. I said, no, you didn't do it for her. No, it can't happen for my sons.
So, you must have been a bit mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's mad. In a way, I was not good to my sons, but I said, no, in this family, if you didn't do for the girl, you can't do for the boys.
What does that look like to live in the Swat Valley in a patriarchal society?
40 years ago, I could see that when I was growing up in a typical patriarchal family with 5 sisters and under the same roof, like I could notice that I had milk cream with my morning breakfast tea. My sisters had not. I had more a pair of shoes, a lot of clothes as compared to my sisters. And the worst discrimination that crippled my sister's future was that I was sent to school and they had not that opportunity to be sent to school. I will not blame my parents for that because the government, like society, was also kind of patriarchal. There were many schools for the boys, but hardly any school for the girls.
So I want to ask you about that because when you're a little kid, your world is just your world,
yes.
and it's normal to you. And an outsider might find things about it odd, but that's just the way you live. So what is it that made you, what was that trigger that made you look at your world and say, it's not right that I'm being treated differently from my sisters?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Like as a child, I was mistreated by boys of my age because of my stammering problem, and some teachers, not all of them, they favored the fair-skinned boys in the class. So I also faced these discriminations, so I was very conscious towards inequality and discrimination. Actually, if I say one thing that changed me, and I answer you in one word, that is education. So education changed me, and when I was in my last year of high school, so I was very much conscious, and at that time even I wrote poetry.
For people who are seeing it, may wonder what the story of this poem is and when it was written. When did these words come to you?
Yeah, it's a long poem, and basically when I saw my first cousin bound in a forced marriage, and also hearing now and then about the honor killing stories, wives very badly treated by some husbands, so I was very sensitive to all these things, and I wrote this poem.
So young girl, you were not born only to cook.
To cook, yes. Your youth is not to be ruined. You were not born a victim, were not born as an instrument for a man's enjoyment. Look, I was 18, 19 years old, and I was very clear. I'm so happy.
So it was written in the stars
Yeah.
that a child named Malala
Yes.
would
Might
become
be.
a forceful young woman, in a way. But when Malala started writing, she started writing for the BBC.
Yes.
So the BBC approached you and knew you were an educator who was interested in girls' education?
Yeah. In 2007, a BBC correspondent approached me and many other people to know the ground realities and truth about the situation. And then Malala was very young. I was not expecting that she will be doing that. She said, I will do it. So then she told the story of education in the Swat Valley, that how education was suffering because of the Talibanization and ban on education and destruction of school, and the fear that the children have had in the classrooms. They were talking about Taliban and war and conflict every day. So it's a bad effect on children. She told the story of that through her BBC blog.
Well, that was the era when the Taliban were hanging people in the center of Mingora.
I had to go out of my home to spend nights in a friend's house, because I was thinking that if they come, because at that time they used to come after people and pick them and kill them. So I was thinking that if I'm killed, I'll be gone. But God forbid, if I'm killed in front of my family, they won't be able to come out of their trauma. So I used to spend nights somewhere else and then coming early in the morning back to my home.
So all this time you're worried that because you are so out there that you will be targeted. I'm trying to imagine, and I can't, what it must have been like for you to find out what had happened to Malala. How did you find out that she'd been shot?
The day she was attacked, I was in a press club and I was about to give my speech, and a friend of mine just whispered in my ear. He told me that your school bus has been attacked, and it was horrible news. I didn't know who was attacked, so they were announcing my name. I went to the podium, gave a short speech, and then said, I have an emergency. And then I went to the hospital, then from one hospital to other, and then finally we went to the UK for her further treatment.
You skipped over the part where you realized it was her, and I'm imagining you skipped over the telling of that because for a father to find out it's his daughter's.
I think it's very retrospection is very traumatic, to be honest. It was such a tragic time that even I forgot how to cry and weep, and I was like sucked up by a black hole, to be honest. It was a very difficult time, and I was very upset, extremely upset, and I asked my wife, because I'm a kind of person, if something bad happens, I ask myself, to what extent I was responsible, or I could have done it differently. And I had these thoughts in my mind, and my wife told me that, oh, please don't think like that. Never feel any guilt, because you stood for the right of education. Your daughter stood for the right of education. And those people should be guilty who are the criminals who attacked her.
And Malala's told you the same thing, right?
Malala is really, I haven't seen such a resilient girl in my whole life. I mean, she was unstoppable, unstoppable girl, yeah. I named her Malala. I did not make her Malala. Yeah.
She did that herself.
Yeah, exactly.
As you said yourself, dads are always looking for advice from other people. You have some thoughts for dads?
Yes, of course. So, like as I always mention that people ask me what I did for my daughter, and I tell them, don't ask me what I did, ask me what I did not do. I did not clip her wings. So this is the first thing, especially for the fathers in patriarchal societies. But to fathers all over the world, I'll tell them that you should believe in your children. Because if you don't believe in them, nobody else will hardly believe in them. So you should be the first people to believe in your kids, and that's all.
I've really enjoyed meeting you. Thank you very, very much. Again, happy Father's Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.